The door to my grandfather's cabin didn't just creak open that morning. It exploded inward, splintering into 100 pieces as the self-proclaimed queen of the HOA stormed inside. Her designer heels crunched across broken glass, her phone held high on livestream, and her perfume hit me before her voice did. She was screaming about community violations and jurisdiction like she owned the place. But here's what she didn't know. Sitting across from me in a worn recliner was the state attorney general, calmly sipping coffee. Karen had just committed 6 felonies in front of the one woman who could end her empire. 6 months earlier, none of this seemed possible. My name's Marcus Henley. I'm 52, retired after 30 years wiring power grids and crawling through mud for union jobs. My reward for a life of hard work wasn't a yacht, or a McMansion, or a fancy country club membership. It was this, my grandfather's old fishing cabin on Clearwater Lake. 2 acres of heaven, wrapped in pine trees and kissed by morning fog that rolled across the water like a living thing. The cabin wasn't big, but it was perfect. Hand-hewn logs, a stone fireplace Pop laid himself, a screened porch that creaked in all the right places. I'd kept it off-grid on purpose, solar panels humming on the roof, a well that tasted like childhood, and a septic system Pop and I built to last longer than either of us. This place wasn't just land. It was memory. It was independence. It was home. Pop always said, the land chooses you, not the other way around. And if someone wants it real bad, find out why. Wise man. Back then, mornings were simple. Coffee steaming in my mug. Loons teaching their babies to dive. Neighbors waving as they passed on their boats. A slice of peace in a world gone too fast. But peace has a way of attracting those who want to control it. That summer, peace rolled out on 4 pearl-white wheels and vanity plates that said Rule 1. The woman who stepped out of that Escalade didn't come to join our little lake community. She came to conquer it. Her name was Delilah Cromwell, though everyone quickly started calling her something else. HOA Karen. 58 years old, sharp haircut, sharper tongue, and a wardrobe that screamed executive even on a Tuesday morning. She wore her HOA president badge like a sheriff's star and strutted through our lakefront like she'd just been elected mayor of paradise. Her mission? To elevate Clearwater Lake into what she called an upscale resort community. Translation: drive out old-timers like me, buy us out cheap, and flip the land for big money. Her first strike came at dawn. I was on the porch drinking coffee when her heels tapped across my dock like a metronome. She taped a bright orange citation on my screen door. Violation: unsightly dock structure damaging community property values. Fine: $500. I had to laugh. That dock wasn't just wood and nails. It was history. Pop and I rebuilt it when I was 12. It had outlasted storms, floods, and decades of fishermen. Now it was apparently an eyesore. When I tried to explain that my cabin predated the HOA by 40 years, she tilted her head, smiled like a shark, and said, "Everyone on this lake answers to me, sweetie. Ask the Hendersons how fighting me worked out for them." The Hendersons. My neighbors who'd lived here 23 years. They'd just sold and left. Suddenly, I wondered if it was really downsizing, or something darker. Within a week, I had 3 more citations. Solar panels too visible. Garden not community appropriate. Porch railing unsafe. Each fine stacked higher than the last. At first, I thought it was just power-tripping nonsense. Annoying, yes, but manageable. What I didn't know was that this wasn't about me being a bad neighbor. This was step 1 in a much bigger game. A game where I was the target, and the prize wasn't a dock or a garden. It was 2 acres of prime lakefront land. And Karen? She wasn't playing small. The day I refused to pay her bogus fines, the real war began. 3 days later, a letter arrived. Certified mail. Fancy law firm letterhead. Cease and desist. Illegal dock extending into community waterway. The demand: $3,000 in back violations, or a lien on my property. Panic hit first. Lawyers cost more than my monthly pension check. But then I remembered Pop's advice, the truth's in the county records. Don't take anyone's word for it. So down I went to the dusty courthouse basement. And sure enough, Pop had me covered even from the grave. The 1963 deed was crystal clear. My property line didn't stop at the water. It extended 50 feet into the lake. That dock? Not trespassing. It was sitting smack dab in the middle of my lake. The HOA hadn't even existed until 1998. I came home feeling 10 feet tall, documents in hand. That confidence lasted exactly until I tried to leave for groceries and found Karen's Escalade parked sideways across my driveway. She rolled her window down an inch and smiled that same shark smile. Community parking inspection. Might take a while. That was the first time I felt the chill of what I was really up against. Then came the vandalism. Comply or leave spray painted across my mailbox in neon orange. My hidden security cam caught her license plate at 2:30 in the morning. I filed a report. Guess who showed up? Deputy Chad Cromwell, her nephew. He took one look, shrugged, and said, "Probably just kids." From there, it spiraled. She formed something called the Lakeside Beautification Committee, a nice-sounding hit squad of neighbors pressured into siding with her. Facebook posts appeared about eyesore properties threatening values. Neighbors I'd shared beers with stopped waving. Behind closed doors, some whispered apologies. "She told us to complain about you or she'd come after us," one admitted. Another confessed she'd already threatened their playground equipment. And every time I thought she couldn't go lower, she proved me wrong. Anonymous reports sent building inspectors, fire marshals, and environmental officers marching across my land. One after another, they left shaking their heads. Everything was perfectly up to code. But the reports kept piling up, an official paper trail painting me as a problem property owner. By now, it wasn't just personal harassment. It was professional sabotage, bureaucratic warfare. And deep in my gut, I knew Karen wasn't doing this alone. She had power behind her. Real power. But Pop was right. If someone wants your land this bad, there's always a reason. I was about to find out why. The first crack in her armor came from the financials. One of her citations had a little line at the bottom: fines payable to Lakeside Community Improvement Fund, account number 847291. It looked official, but I'd been in construction long enough to smell a rat. So back to the county clerk I went. Betty, who'd known Pop from fishing tournaments, helped me dig into the HOA's filings. And what we found made my blood boil. Over 2 years, the HOA had collected nearly $300,000 for dock repairs. Not a single nail had been hammered. Another $150,000 for landscaping, paid to Cromwell Grounds and Maintenance, a company registered 3 weeks after Karen took office. The kicker: 3 insurance claims for storm damage payouts of nearly $100,000 each. Only problem: there hadn't been storms on those dates. Weather records showed clear skies. Fraud. Plain and simple. And it went deeper. Karen's husband, Robert Cromwell, wasn't just some nobody. He was the state Democratic Party treasurer, access to zoning, development plans, political favors. Suddenly, the pieces clicked. This wasn't about lawns and docks. It was about driving out longtime owners, tanking property values, then flipping the land through connected buyers. And my 2 acres? A crown jewel. I started documenting everything: citations, videos, vandalism, fake inspections. My cabin's spare bedroom turned into an evidence wall worthy of a detective show. But fighting her wasn't just exhausting. It was dangerous. She sabotaged my solar panels, cutting wires in the night. She cut the chains on my boat, letting it drift into rocks. She poisoned my septic system with chemicals, costing me thousands in repairs. All while blasting social media with fake accounts calling me a menace, a danger, even claiming I was aggressive toward kids. For the first time, I considered giving up, selling, walking away. Then an old friend, lawyer Chuck Davis, showed up with a beer and a lifeline. "Marcus, the Attorney General's office is investigating HOA corruption rings. What you've got? It could blow this whole thing wide open." And just like that, the fight wasn't just mine anymore. It was war. Chuck arranged a meeting with investigators. They listened. They nodded. And then they said words that nearly floored me. This matches schemes in 4 other counties. Elderly homeowners. Harassment. Forced sales. Fraud. The FBI was already circling. My evidence could be the missing link. That night, staring out across the moonlit lake, I realized this wasn't just about saving Pop's cabin. It was about stopping predators who thought small-town families were easy prey. So I doubled down. Documented every sabotage. Recorded every phone call. Collected every neighbor's testimony. Karen thought she was isolating me. In reality, she was building the case that would end her. The plan came together fast. The Attorney General herself wanted to announce new HOA reform legislation at my cabin. Symbolic, strategic, and irresistible bait. We knew Karen couldn't resist crashing it. She needed control like lungs need air. So we prepared. Hidden cameras in the cabin. Undercover agents positioned around the property. Backup plans for the backup plans. Meanwhile, Karen was unraveling. Her vandalism grew sloppy. Her threats grew louder. She was calling neighbors at night, screaming about conspiracies. She even tried spinning herself online as a political victim. But she was too far gone to realize her next move would be her last. Underscore 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 underscore. The showdown, 200 words. The morning of the meeting, the Attorney General sat calmly in Pop's recliner, sipping coffee. Agents whispered into earpieces from hidden spots outside. Then came the sound. The roar of Karen's Escalade up the driveway. Doors slammed. Voices barked about camera angles. And then, crash. My cabin door exploded inward, Karen storming in, live streaming to thousands. She waved her phone like a weapon, shrieking about government corruption. The Attorney General stood, cool as stone, and showed her badge. Mrs. Cromwell, I'm the Attorney General. You've just committed multiple felonies in my presence. Karen froze. Her livestream audience watched in real time as FBI agents stepped inside, handcuffs clicking. The HOA queen was dethroned, in my living room. 3 months later, Judge Harrison threw the book at her. 3 years in federal prison. $340,000 restitution. Lifetime ban from any HOA. Her husband followed with his own conspiracy conviction. The HOA dissolved. In its place, a volunteer association, neighbors helping neighbors. The community healed. Property values soared. And Pop's cabin still stands, stronger than ever. Sometimes the little guy wins, not because he's bigger, but because he refuses to back down. So tell me, what would you have done if HOA Karen kicked down your door? Drop your story in the comments. Trust me, you're not alone in this fight.